What do you trust? Do you trust the words someone says or the way that something looks? Or do you trust the energy that sits underneath it?
पूर्वा सन्ध्या प्रवर्तते.
And I was using it to illustrate for everybody just how important your discernment is now. More important than ever before because of where we're at, right? We are in such a highly polarized experience of the world at this point that you have to be able to depend on your own inner antenna. And if I'm listening to a story, looking at the video or reading the words or whatever it is, I count on that to to tell me energetically, is this something that's clear or is this something that isn't? And just because it isn't wouldn't mean that it was completely wrong, but something's not quite right there. And then that's the indicator. Okay, now use your intellect, go in there and do the research, find out what you got to find out, whatever. And it's something that it is like super important on your spiritual path. Just that, outside of what's going on in the world, it's really important on your spiritual path to know and learn that you can trust that your intuition and that aspect of yourself that knows truth from non-truth energetically, and then to be able to trust that. And that's something that you have to build because the mind doesn't want to go there. The mind thinks that you know, because its whole story is based around the that I'm the one who's in control here. I will decide what's, true or not true, whatever. And it's never going to defer to an inner sense of intuition that is guided by something greater. So you'll be tested on this. Tested, tested, tested. What do you trust? Do you trust the words someone says or the way that something looks? Or do you trust the energy that sits underneath it? And you always have to defer to the energy that sits underneath it because you can't fake the energy. You can lie, you can say all kinds of things. You can be a really good actor and pretend to be something you're not. You can be really persuasive, you could be really manipulative, and people will buy it, but it doesn't make it true. And the energy can't lie. So it's the story of the good versus evil, the story of ego versus the eternal playing out in another way in physical form. And the negative side of that is getting craftier and craftier. And now with the advent of AI, they're going to be able to create all kinds of things where it's going to look like a certain person is saying a certain thing because they can fake the voice, they can fake the video, and there are ways to tell, but a lot of people will never do the research to find out how can you discern a deep fake from, something that's not. And it's going to place a lot of people in the world in a really precarious place where they will be easily manipulated, easily controlled. So if you don't have your energetic compass set properly, you could very well end up being one of those people. But you have to learn to discern it because it's just going to ramp up. It's just going to ramp. I mean, we haven't seen anything yet. It's important in your work. The whole point is to be clear, to be clear in the world, and you will be tested. Now, remember that we are in a collective initiation. So I hope you're putting the pieces together here. We're in a collective initiation. Collectively, we have to learn to be discerning. So the timing of the AI thing and the deep fakes and the people in power who are literally lying a ridiculous amount about anything. It's all there for a reason, because collectively we have to learn to discern truth from fiction. But we have to learn this humanity as a whole is not going to pop out of third dimensional polarized consciousness if it can't get clear about some very basic things. Discernment, 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 discernment. Practice. You got so much to look at right now. Practice. People are manipulative. Don't ever forget that, right? The ego is domination, manipulation, and control. And that can happen anywhere. So be careful. Purva Sandhya